Petitioner for each item will be asked to come forward to the podium using the microphone kind of placed close to your mouth and present your request. The board will ask any questions they may have. Then anyone speaking to the proposal will be asked to come forward and voice their opinion. Each side, if there are sides on a particular project, will have 10 minutes to speak. Once your request is heard and the board's decision is rendered, you may leave the meeting. However, if you have questions for staff, please wait until after the meeting is over to ask them, or you may contact staff at the office the following day. Once public testimony and discussion for a particular item has concluded, the board will debate and render its decision. Members with a personal or financial interest in any request are required to recuse themselves from voting. All decisions of the Architecture Review Board are final. Any aggrieved parties may appeal a decision to the City Council within 15 days for procedural issues. If your request is denied by the board, petitioners may appeal to the board's decision to the Circuit Court within 30 days of the meeting. I can't count from here, but we have a quorum here. It takes 5 votes to pass a motion. There are plenty of people here, so you shouldn't have to worry about whether or not one person's going to vote against your project and you're sunk. Huh? 7? Excellent. I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce the members of the Architectural Review Board. Cedric Campbell, on time again, he's setting a new record. Elizabeth Brown, Jake Johnson. Jake, did you raise your hand? I can't see you from here yet. Jeremy Kelly, John Hayden, John Foshee is not here. Hillary Morgan is not here. Katie Williams, thank you, Katie, and Kalia Bell. All right, land use staff, we have Christy Anderson. I introduced Russell Stringer last week and he's not here again. Ethan Fowler and Paul Wade. All right. Clay McInnes, Garden District, 314 Maury Street.
I am not Clay McInnes. My name is Jim Forrester. He asked me to come tonight to represent him in this petition to keep a repair to an existing fence intact. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have about the fence.
I would note that this was kind of tricky to write up. There was a privacy fence that covered a portion of this. The portion in question is where there is a walk-through gate, and then it goes up the steps in front of this unit here, which was not there previously. So that is the only point of contention in this fence installation.
So looking at the photograph, looking at the gate, to the right was replaced or repaired. To the left, the gate in itself and the fence to the left that graduates up was not there, so that's what's on the board.
Correct.
Okay. Any idea why he did?
Yeah, I think the resident that was in the unit was expressing her concern about security up on her stoop. And so just to try to keep in line with what was there, to try to extend it on up, to try to give her a little bit more privacy at her front door. Because she accesses that area from the pedestrian gate off of the parking area.
Yeah, it looks like they were trying to hide the stairs and maybe the stoop with the fencing.
You know, I don't know what the existing stairs look like now, but I think it was more about her just having a little bit better protection from packages being delivered and just in and out of her front door, I think is the biggest concern she had.
Is the rest of that fence 6 feet? Is that just standard 6 feet dog ear, or is it shorter?
The pedestrian side is a little shorter than the 6, but I think the 7 is the max. But as it inches up, of course, it gets up to about 8 feet off the ground. But as it relates to the stoop, it's still below the 6 foot mark. the illusion, I guess, is that we've skirted the entire stoop and it makes it look like a massive fence there. Clay said that he could put in some shrubbery there, maybe some type of plantings to try to mask that. Would be something that he could do pretty quick and easy to try to make that go away, paint it. Other options for her, the current resident, would be, she doesn't have any really. He didn't know what to do to make it any more secure than it was.
Well, I mean, even from the photograph, it's obvious this door is not on the ground.
No, it is not. Yeah.
So it's obvious there's going to be stairs or stoop behind it, railing obviously leading up to it. I can understand, I think, the thought behind raising the fence so if a package was left that it might not be seen. But then again, the fence is 5.5 feet tall. Anybody walking by coming from right to left could see what was on the stoop anyway, probably, if they wanted to, especially if they
Yeah.
got up on the step of the leading into the gate. And of course, I don't have any problem with the gate. Gate looks fine.
I wish we had a picture of the old fence. It definitely was, yeah, there you go. So, I mean,
Now, I don't have a problem with the fence itself. It's the height.
Right,
The
right.
Fence looks fine. Looks fine. It's just,
is that lattice work there around her stoop now? I can't really tell.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah. Of course, that's a lot more perforated, but just to keep people from, scaling that stoop is really the primary reason he extended it on through there. I don't think the lattice remains.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's been, well, it looks terribly monolithic. And on a side street where this was the only thing that provided much relief from nothingness, it's kind of bad, from my point of view. I think your proposal to plant bushes at the bottom are probably appropriate, and if she's concerned about security, let's make it something that will make people really sorry if they step in it.
Okay.
Yeah. Holly, a smaller version of holly, anything that's holly-like
Okay.
is very discouraging.
All right. Would Mr. Stringer have recommendations from Mr. McInnes to do something like size and type of tree or shrub, and then we could take a look at that and consult with him about that?
Sure. His
I'm not-
representative's here now. He may
Yes,
have.
so we do have a planting list that's
Okay.
approved by the city, but the size, we typically, any landscape requirements are 18 inches tall
Yep.
and 7-gallon container stock.
All right. So
So
some
that's
kind
what
of,
the city typically requires with any other development plantings.
some kind of really bad sticker bush that's 18 inches tall and
Yeah.
7 gallons.
It could be bigger. He's just saying that's the minimum
Right, right.
requirement.
No, I think it should be bigger a little bit right there, especially to the left of the gate. Is
It
that
would be-
something that we could do for the committee?
It would also be nice if, it's hard to see from this picture exactly, where is the gate at the corner of the house, or is the gate?
Actually, where it starts ascending up the stairs, you
Uh-huh.
can see the pickets go up, the gate is
Yep.
there.
I mean,
can
where,
see-
where does this fall? That's what I'm thinking. Is it like,
There's 2 steps up off the pavers there. There's 2 steps up. You can see the mat on the ground there, I think. That's where the gate is.
okay. It would also be nice to plant something like Confederate jasmine on the other side of the gate to sort of make this, to bring it as a garden towards the street.
We were kind of thinking about fig ivy, since it's a little tighter to the fence instead
Okay.
of the jasmine, which
Okay.
kind of goes out. And yeah, right. Is fig ivy
The
acceptable?
big ivy is fine.
Okay.
All right. Is there any discussion from the audience on this? Did we hear from Cloverdale or the Garden District on this? Okay. Any other discussion?
If you all let that 8-foot fence stand as a fence, you're gonna have to get a variance too because it's too tall.
I think.
Or are
John-
you gonna
John's
ask him
talking about
to,
it going away, right?
are you asking it to go away?
I thought John was saying go away. Maybe I misunderstood.
That was my thought. I mean, again, no problem with the gate.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was
was thinking
saying.
trimming
Okay.
down
Yeah.
the fence. And
What if we,
I think they started talking about using some hollies, whatnot, as,
If we've got 3 foot of holly at the bottom, it's not gonna look like an 8-foot fence anymore.
Oh, I thought the holly was gonna be in a replacement of the fence. So fence is still there.
The
in
fence
holly.
is still there, the holly's in front of it, so you've got this much that's green, and then above. You don't like that? That's okay. You don't have to like it, just
I
because I
know,
did.
Yeah, because I thought I heard John say from the gate back toward the left was going away. So I misunderstood you, Ms. Brown. Okay.
Okay.
Well, we don't have a motion yet anyway. So.
No, we don't, we don't. John, tell me again what you think.
I was thinking trim the fence down, and I think that's when you began your discussion about, pardon me, using holly or some other deterring plant, and I guess you were intending to keep the height as it is.
Well, I don't know where's the rail behind it. We don't want to cut it down below the rail.
yeah, I'm
Well,
ki-
they could always replace the rail with something more solid too.
Isn't the rail a pipe rail? I thought it was.
It's a metal iron, it looked like it, my photo's not real good either.
yeah, it's pretty open.
I mean, they could propose something that looks more like a rail that is more solid instead of using a fence as a rail, if the fence was cut down.
Wouldn't this still have to go through the Board of Adjustments? Or
If it
zoning
stays at 8 feet, yes,
to maintain the 8 feet?
yes.
So it's 8 feet off the ground, not off the steps, not off the stoop.
It's off the ground. You've got about an 8-foot fence at the peak there, and that is too tall by zoning.
Anything over 6 for zoning, right?
7.
7.
Okay.
7,
From the ground to the top of the fence,
yes.
that's the measurement.
Even if it's being used as the
Well, if you
railing.
want to call it a railing, it is not a proper railing, and I would suggest that the fence needs to go away and you need to come up with a solid railing plan, but I don't get to vote. So it depends on, it's too tall as a fence and it's not really an appropriate porch railing. So it depends on what y'all want to consider it, which way that's going to have to go.
So would an option then be to, from the pedestrian gate, remove that portion of fencing and then go in with something like a holly there to try to detour any kind of access from the street side? Is that is that okay? Is that a solution to the problem?
We would need to see a drawing of it. Have you got the agenda for today?
Yes,
The whole
ma'am.
agenda? Look on page 61.
Did you say 61?
61, 6D, I'm sorry.
He doesn't,
101 South Capitol Parkway.
he doesn't have one with pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Here's one you can look at.
I'll give you mine.
I have one, Ms. Brown.
Okay.
And I will say, I built that porch rail, and if I can build that porch rail, anyone can build that porch rail. I'm just saying.
You're pretty talented. I saw the rail.
Something
So-
like that would be appropriate to this building and you can even put the pickets a little closer together if you wanted to make it
So
solid.
that was another thing, if we keep it at 7 or below, it's okay though, I mean, where it
Yes.
is.
Yes.
Well, from a Board of Adjustment standpoint, yes. They're concerned with the visual quality of that fence height. So it only becomes a separate issue if they say, okay, you can keep it as it is, and then you're too tall, and then you have to go to the Board of Adjustment. So
Can I petition the board to reduce the fence to the appropriate height, not to exceed the 7 feet, and utilize the existing railing behind it that's the pipe rail that lets her safely get up to the stoop, and then we go in front of that portion of the fence with under a shrub type product that is approved by the city. Can we change my petition to that? Drop the fence height to the appropriate height, cut it down, and then put the planting to the left of the stoop with something, and then the fig ivy to the right of the door, like Ms. Brown suggested.
I think my concern would be that 7 feet still going to be higher than it is on the right side of the gate.
No, I want to keep it all the same level.
Okay, so
I
you're
mean,
going to drop it down to that?
Yeah, I don't think I would like to see it, any higher than that either. I think that aesthetically, it should be all gate level, all the way to the corner.
Okay, so you're talking about drop it down to whatever the, whatever height the gate and the fence to the right is.
Yeah,
Come in on the street side, I guess, consult with the urban forester about planting
Yeah.
certain things, and then on the other side of the gate,
yeah, I think it's a break in the perimeter that concerns the residents. So I think, getting it back down to the right elevation is the right thing to do, but pushing the people, any deterrent away from the gate or the fencing would be the right thing to do to keep it from a second layer of access, I guess.
Okay. Do you think we can craft a motion at this point?
I think John can do anything.
John, you may
all my
never,
courts canceled for the last week, so I hadn't crafted much of anything in a long time. Well, actually, it comes into two sections. I move that we approve the installation of the gate. Move that we approve the installation of the fence, subject to it being lowered to 6 feet, contiguous with the gate and the rest of the fence, and permit the petitioner to install certain shrubbery in consultation with the urban forester, something that would be appropriate and would also help deter, give the wanted deterrent effect for the tenant.
So specifically, the shrubbery would be to the resident side, and to the right side of the gate would be more in line with the fig ivy as a covering for the fence, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Ms. Brown said, and,
That's right.
okay,
Correct.
I understand.
Okay. That's my motion.
all right, may I have a second?
Second?
Any opposed? All right, let's vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you all, appreciate it.
All right, Stephanie Nard, Garden District, 321 Felder Avenue.
Hi.
Hi. You're, 32 is, okay.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Is that better? I reside at 321 Felder Avenue in the Garden District. I am proposing replacing a 4-foot chain link fence between my neighbor, my adjacent next door neighbor at 315, perpendicular to Felder Avenue, running back between the two houses, or two backyards. The fence would start at what you see in the picture now, the back corner of both of our homes, and run directly back to my back property line. The reason for well, let me start with the materials. The materials I mentioned in my proposal, if I may, I would like to go with a little thicker board. After looking at the picture of my proposal, I think that would be more durable and aesthetically pleasing and consistent with that picture there. The reason for my proposal is aesthetics, height consistency, and consistency with the fencing. I bought my home with, it's got at least 4 different types of fencing going around my backyard. So I would like to start with that one fence line. My next door neighbors are newlyweds. They are willing to provide labor. I provide, and they split the cost of the fencing for their portion of the backyard, and then I will pay for the installation and remaining fencing going back to the back of my property line. The Second reason is for privacy. I've got newlyweds on next door to me. I have people all around me at higher levels around me. I don't necessarily care about being totally private. That's part of, living where we live. Our property line, our properties are platformed or terraced. However, I can see 4 doors down into my neighbor 4 doors down. I can see all the way to Whole Street, and I have neighbors all who can see into my backyard. And then the main reason, other than the aesthetics, is the safety. I would like to discourage fence jumping. Folks jumping my 4-foot chain link fence, police chases and searches on foot of my backyard, looking for suspects, and theft of property. I've had a neighbor climb my fence and do things he thought would help me without my knowledge or permission until I came home that night. So that's my reason. Again, as far as types and materials of the fencing, again, I'm proposing, or we are proposing, my next door neighbors agree to either 4x6, no less than 4x6 by 8 posts. We are leaning towards 6x6 by 8 foot posts. 1 1/4 inch thick by 6 inch by 6 foot decking, horizontally placed as shown in the horizontal picture. 1 1/4 by 6 inch top rail or cap on the fencing material, as well as 1 by 4 by 6 vertically placed boards to cover the seam. At this point, all of that would be pressure-treated pine. The cedar was a bit too cost prohibitive for me. Does anyone, that's
All right.
it as far as my proposal.
Discussion from the board?
I can understand, ma'am. I've got 4 different fences in my backyard. Hopefully, by the end of June, they'll be one.
Have you made your petition to the Architecture Review Board?
Yes, ma'am. It's been
All
approved.
right, all right,
I got a copy of it.
all right.
I'm good. It's a financial thing sometimes.
Yes, it is.
I've got concern with the horizontal slats on the fencing. Are you married to that? I mean, can we talk about vertical?
Yes, I didn't know if I was permitted to propose an alternative until you mentioned. My neighbor at 315 Felder Ave, they have vertically placed boards with the cap on the top, and it is 6 feet. And by the way, I have no problem with a 6-foot fence where they are. From the back of their property line back to the back of my property line, however, that is the area that I'm proposing possibly taking this step up. But I would propose no less than 6 feet.
6 feet in height, but
Yes,
going
sir.
vertical in lieu of horizontal.
With the cap on top. Yes, and that's what they have, and you may be able to see in the back of the picture that has my 4-foot chain link fence.
Is that on 2C, Ms. Anderson?
Yes. You may be able to see the background, see what they've got, and when I took the picture, they had not refinished their fence yet. Okay.
That one in the background, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That fence in the background, they refinished it this past week, and it looks really nice.
Yeah.
They've stained it to match the stain that I already have been doing my deck in. And it is more costly, but
Looks better. I think it does.
I agree.
yeah, the horizontal would have been cheaper, and I was trying to stay away from the thin 1x6 pickets that you can buy these days. So that's why I was proposing the deck boards. They were thicker and appeared to be more sturdy, but
What's your objection to horizontal fencing?
It just doesn't have the same aesthetic look to me.
So you think that dog-eared vertical fencing is a good look?
Yeah, I think it looks better than horizontal.
Right.
Technically, the chain link is a historic fence, but,
Ma'am?
oh, please
I
don't.
said technically that chain link fence is a historic fence,
And
but.
it's fine with me, but I understand her
No,
desire not to.
no, and I would suggest too that if you haven't talked to some of the lumber yards, get prices for cedar or cypress from them, because it's about half of what it runs at Lowe's and Home Depot. That is the voice of experience, so.
And John, you didn't tell me why you didn't like horizontal fence.
Did I say it? Did I say I didn't like horizontal fence?
I thought you said you did. I'm
I
sorry.
would prefer vertical. I mean,
I would prefer vertical. I think it has more of a historical precedent.
I can't hear you, Katie.
I don't know if I'm on.
I would prefer it. I'm not saying I'd vote against a horizontal fence. I'm going to put in a horizontal fence because I have a wife and she says we're going to put in a horizontal fence. So there you go.
I think the vertical
I didn't have to think
fencing-
about it very much, to be honest with you.
Vertical fencing has more of a historical precedence, and the horizontal fencing is more of a modern detail fencing.
And it's a mid-century modern kind of thing.
I agree.
I originally saw in Memphis, my sister lives in Midtown Memphis in the historic district, and I saw that horizontal fence and took a picture of something very similar to the picture that I presented to you all. And I really liked it. It had a nice blend with the historic home. And that's what started me down this path. So when I saw the one that is in the picture, I thought, oh, well, I really did like the combination of the historic house. But I'm not totally married to it. I can see where the consistency around at least my two neighbors, all the way around their homes, will be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you've got vertical on either side, and then you want to put horizontal in the back. Is that what I'm understanding?
I have got the 4-foot chain link fence, the vertical on the other side of my neighbor. The fence that's falling down has already been taken down, that 6-foot fence next to the chain link. It has been removed. It was only about an 8-foot section, and you can see part of it was already missing in the middle. And it was being held together by the chain link posts.
Yeah, but it's vertical.
It's vertical. On the other side of me, I have there's a 6-foot chain link fence that was there when I bought the property. And behind me is 4-foot fence with trees and jungle. And behind it is 6-foot wood horizontal slats that are woven.
Really?
It's like a basket weave pattern. I don't know what it's actually called. And then if you scroll back down to 2D, I think it was, that is what you'll see from my back porch, from my back deck. And I don't even know how tall that is. 10 feet, probably. There's an
Illegal,
easement
probably.
alleyway back there. And
Yeah, I don't think we have a problem with the 7-foot height. It's just, it seems just, long term when you think about what's around,
Yes,
what you
ma'am.
want around the 3 sides of your
yeah.
future backyard. Do you want a mix of horizontal and vertical, or just all vertical?
Well, my hope was I would replace my entire fence line, that 4-foot chain link, with horizontal, and then eventually replace if you approved that, then I was going to replace the back fence line, my chain link, with the horizontal boards as well. And and then I would have a 6-foot chain link on my right side. Eventually, maybe one of the neighbors on that side would like more privacy and replace that as well. But on their other side, there's a brick wall, a block wall. So myself and my next door neighbor on the opposite side, we're going to have different fencing. It's just a matter of how many.
Is there any further discussion? Any comments from the audience? All right. A motion, please. Mr. Hayden does not have to make every motion.
I'm still trying to, no, well,
I was trying to see if Ms. Nord said she was open to it, the vertical with the cap on top, but I don't know that you've made that a proposal. So what is it? Are you still saying the horizontal, or what's your?
That was my first choice, but I do understand that's something new and not yet, hasn't yet been.
On our department comments, it says that they have been approved before. It's not something that's done often, but it is approved. So I would say, really, what do you want to go with? Because it is your house, and it's I like the fence. I like the horizontal. I like lines, horizontal lines. So, but I think Cedric is more concerned about what you really are leaning toward, not necessarily what we're cornering you to choose.
Okay.
Because it only takes 5. It's 7 of us. I mean, it only takes 5. If 5 says you're fine with horizontal, then you could be fine. So.
May I ask one more question?
Sure.
And forgive me, this is the first time I've ever been here or seen one of these hearings. If I stick with my original proposal and ask for permission for the horizontal, it sounds to me as though there would be no opposition if I revert back to the vertical to be consistent with the neighbors. Can I do that? Can we proceed with the vote on the horizontal? And then I don't know what I would need to do in order.
If the horizontal fails, then I'll make a motion for the vertical afterwards.
As a backup plan, do I have to come back, wait another month and come back?
You'll be standing right there.
Yes, sir. Well, that's what I would like to vote for then. That gives me the flexibility and height to go up to the 7 feet if I need to, if you all approve that. If you don't, I'll be happy with my 6 feet and run.
okay, are we going horizontal first, then vertical, or vertical,
Yes.
then horizontal?
Horizontal first.
Horizontal.
Horizontal first.
Horizontal first.
I move that we permit Ms. Nard to install her horizontal fence up to and including 7 feet, or if something happens, she may.
I think you got to go with
You
that
need
one.
to stop. We need to vote.
Yeah, you got to stop
Okay,
right
I'm
there.
gonna stop now. That's my motion.
All right. All in favor?
6.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you. Okay.
Opposed? Yeah.
Now she's going to run as fast as she can.
Quick.
I've had days at the appellate courts that
Wait.
haven't been quite this tough. Come on.
What about the backup on the vertical?
You're good. You're good.
I'm good?
You,
I got both.
They approved.
Thank you all.
horizontal. Have a good run.
All right. Daryl Castillo. A rear fence at 1028 South Pole Street.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. My name is Mr. Castillo. I am the petitioner, and I am requesting permission to replace an existing 4-foot chain link fence along my north property line with a standard 6-foot high privacy dog-eared fence panels. That's going to include a gate, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
All right. For this delightfully consistent with the regulations project, is there any discussion?
No.
May I have a motion?
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
All in favor? Mr. Castillo?
My heart rate is racing.
I mean, you have it all today. You have it all today.
Thank you.
You make
That's
that.
it. Thank you, ma'am. I
You are
appreciate it.
approved.
Thank you, board.
I'm glad, because when I talked to him on the phone, I was like, oh, no, there's no problem. Nothing to worry about.
All right. I see Hannah Jackson, Old Cloverdale, 1902 Graham Street.
Hi.
You
We
need
would
to
like
get
to put in a
closer to the
pool.
microphone.
Okay. We would like to put in a pool, the stated pool, 14 by 28. And we'd also like to replace the chain link fence that you can't see here on the back left side with the privacy fence that matches the other 3 sides.
All right. Discussion?
Is there a site plan showing the pool inside your
Yeah.
backyard?
I don't know what page number that is, but there is one.
That's 4C.
There is a 4-foot surround, if that's what you're asking.
No, I wanted to see how it fit, because it's a pretty good sized pool for that size yard, is what I was thinking.
It is a good size. The forester came by and he said that he didn't think any trees would be harmed in the process. And we appreciate that because there's 2 beautiful oaks. And so we definitely, when we worked with Mr. Pullman, he made sure to lay it out, not horizontally, but like that so that it would not interfere with any of the trees or anything else on the property.
There's no, it's not going into any of your setbacks in your property, is it?
No, ma'am,
Okay.
it's not.
All right. Is there anyone from the audience to speak to this project?
I do have written comments from Old Cloverdale, and on this one, the Old Cloverdale Association has no issue with the installation of the pool or 6-foot privacy fence to replace the chain link fence.
All right.
Bad day for chain link fence in this town.
It is a bad day for chain link fence. May I have a motion for this project then?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Accept as submitted.
All right. All in favor? Opposed? Go, dig your pool. And you know, this is
Thank y'all.
just a block from my house. I could be right there in the
Yes,
summer.
open invite. Anybody can come. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think so. All right, William and Lorraine Ritchie, Old Cloverdale, 1247 Felder Avenue, on the world's most exposed lot.
That is true. We are right on the corner of 3 streets. So we're requesting permission to replace the privacy fence that's on the back side of a property that's on Belmont Avenue, as well as part of the chain link fence that's on Felder Terrace, and going across from Felder Terrace perpendicular to that doorway or to that patio that's right on the side of our property to enclose the backyard with a 6-foot privacy fence. There will be a gate leading from the front yard to the backyard, as well as a gate that's back there, basically right in front of that, where that little pickup truck is. We're also requesting permission to put an 8 by 12-foot shed in that back corner area. Currently, we have no outside storage, so all of our stuff is piled on our back patio with a tarp over it.
It used to be like a carport there or something, wasn't
There
there?
used to be a garage where the driveway is. When we bought the property last year, that garage was already down, and the previous owners had remodeled the entire house, so.
They did get approval for a carport to be placed where we're looking at putting the shed.
Okay.
That, just to let you know, that privacy fence was installed in 1976. So it's leaning in certain areas, it's held to trees by bungee cords. Yeah, I'm also working with the city council. This proposal requires a license agreement. So since it is on the right of way, and it goes to the council meeting next Tuesday.
Okay.
So got all the approvals from the utilities and whatnot.
Discussion? I'm concerned about bringing the privacy fence down Felder Terrace,
Okay?
and certainly bringing it all the way to the corner would,
No, the privacy fence will not extend all the way to the corner. Where you see that piece sticking out from the corner of the house, that's where we'll stop the privacy fence.
okay.
So the existing section that you see down there on the lower portion will stay chain link fence. Yeah, we want to keep the front yard open. The backyard we want to close off. We have 3 dogs, and our pit bull likes to jump the 4-foot high
Yes.
chain link fence, so.
Yes.
And people aren't too happy about having a pit bull run around loose, so. That is a proposed shed.
It would be
there.
nice if the picket fence could turn the corner.
Maybe
Just
next
saying.
time, maybe next year, we'll see.
All right, all
I
right,
would prefer that than the chain link,
all right.
for sure.
Glad to have an ally on that idea. All right, any further discussion? May I have a motion?
Do you want Cloverdale's comments?
Please.
Old Cloverdale Association has no objection to the removal of the existing shed and replacement with the one proposed. With respect to the fencing request, we agree any approval by the ARB should be contingent on the city's granting the license variances. We have no objection with the replacement of the wooden fence along Belmont or the addition of a 6-foot wooden fence from the edge of the side patio to Felder Terrace. We do feel the replacement of the chain link fence down Felder Terrace with a 6-foot wooden privacy fence will result in a large expanse of fence that will be very visible. We would suggest that the owners agree to plant bushes or trees that would help to screen the fence or at least break up the fence line. If the owners agree to landscaping, we would have no objection to the proposed fence along Felder Terrace. That reads like they looked at it like you did, though, about it coming to the corner, although
Yes.
versus that a short section. And there's a good chance that they're going to have to cut away that corner at Belmont, so someone sitting there doesn't turn in front of a car. So it'll
Okay.
probably be modified a bit to accommodate that.
Currently, the privacy fence goes right to the corner, and the traffic department has already agreed that there's no issues with the way that it's designed as it is.
All right, any further questions? I'll entertain a motion then.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? There we go.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you
so
very much.
We front-end loaded all the bad projects, all the hard projects this week, did we not? All right.
No, this is the bad one.
Oh, yeah. She's always a problem, isn't she?
And I actually brought a big piece of metal because I thought I didn't want to grab down a little piece of metal. For germ purposes.
You brought the leaves and everything, okay.
Spider webs? All right. Ms. Anderson, present your project.
Well, the front gable is now painted, so it doesn't look like that anymore, thankfully. So we are slowly making our way around the outside of this house and have 3 requests. We'd like to remove 2 hackberry trees. There was a tree on the fence line that fell. You can see the remnant of it in the front of that picture. There's a smaller one behind it that doesn't require approval, a bigger one behind it, and one in the middle of the backyard that last week decided it was going to start self-pruning. We would like to remove those and replant them with something in consultation with Russell, either a canopy tree, or he and I have discussed this handkerchief or ghost tree as a possible experiment. It's something I saw in England that is actually used as a street tree in Oregon, and he thought it might work here if it was watered well. So I I would work with him on those. Also like to use a 5V crimp metal to replace a rolled roof on the rear laundry room addition. The rolled roof leaks. We've got some issues over the back door where some competing roof lines have been channeling water onto a window that it's rotted out. So the metal, I think we could push the metal out just a little bit to give it more of an overhang and protect that window. And on the south side, we'd gotten permission to remove a door that someone added, around World War II, that had an overhang, a hood over the door that has mostly rotted away. We haven't decided if we're going to keep that door or put the window y'all approved in there yet. So if we do keep the door, we'd like to use the same metal in the burnished slate, which is that color.
Which picture is that? Is that 6C?
I don't have my full agenda.
I think it's 6C. Is it 6C?
It may be. No, that's the back.
Okay.
The side was, I saw it earlier. That's the back as well. That's also now painted brown and green. It's right there. That picture. Behind the chimney, there's a landing. Yes.
Okay.
And we boarded up the door,
Okay.
and you can see the remnants of the thing that held a roof over it.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
It is mostly not there anymore.
Remnants is a kind word. Yeah.
Yeah, there are lots of remnants of things in this.
Is that the one you're all thinking about closing?
We talked about, we got permission to change that to a 1/1 window.
Oh, yeah.
But we haven't started doing the inside yet, so the more we think about how we might use the inside space, it might be nice to have a door to a side garden, because that's a nice sunny spot. So I don't know. If we keep the door, we would like to use a metal roof over the reconstructed door hood.
Well, from a maintenance point of view, that certainly makes sense. If water's going to be falling off the roof onto it.
Yeah, the threshold and the sill where that door is are gone right now. So they've rotted out. And then we're also considering a new porch rail. And initially, I wanted to reintroduce front steps, but someone stopped by a month ago and said she grew up in the house and lived in the house until 1970, and that she was 13 when they moved. And Rich asked her if they had front steps, and she said no, just the steps on the side. So it's been that way for at least 50 years, probably 60 years. So we would propose building a porch rail that would have a top. The top of the cap would be 25 inches, which will tuck under the plinth. That'll give us about probably a 20-inch baluster on a 2x4 base with the drip cap, the baluster, a plowed top rail, and then the handrail. So it will be like the rail that we built for our house, minus the decorative diamond-shaped panel that we put in that one.
So you're not going to put a panel at all in this one?
No. The only reason we did that one is the house next door had them, and we had that diamond in our mailbox. So we were guessing that might have been what a rail looked like. That this will just be a 1.5-inch square baluster that we will mill out of cedar and make those.
Okay,
And they'll be equally spaced.
all right. So you're asking for permission for the rail?
Rail.
And for the metal roof?
Metal roof and tree removal and
Tree removal.
replacement.
How high off the ground is the porch?
Under 30 inches.
Good answer.
And the chief building official suggested that if these porches weren't, that you should just add dirt, so they were. No, it's under 30 inches. And I know that the building department hasn't really made a big issue on first floor porches unless someone takes the roof off, and then they consider it a new structure. So keeping it under roof, even if it was, I'd be out there throwing dirt up there to raise that level.
All right. Any comments from the audience?
Ms. Anderson, is the green and charcoal color the color scheme for the house? Just curious.
You approved it, or were you not here that day?
I don't
He
think I
was,
here.
because he asked me what color I was going to paint the columns.
Really?
And the answer at this point is I'm doing experiments on stripping paint off the brick to see if I can get most of the paint off of it. But yes, that dark brown with relentless olive trim
Gotcha, that's right.
is
it's a
it.
brown.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
it.
Now I remember
It's
that.
looking pretty good too. We've had a number of people stop who say, I just love the colors. It doesn't look like anything around here. I'm like, yep. Sure doesn't.
All right. May I have a motion on Ms. Anderson's project?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Thank you for your continued hard work in your neighborhood. We need to approve the minutes from the last meeting. They were mailed to you. Does anybody have any comments or additions? All right. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Hiya.
Opposed? All right. You ready?